This is Dave Fiore. First, thank you for listening to the podcast. I created How I Got Here just over 5 years ago with the idea that our community is made up of amazing people with journeys that can encourage and inspire. It has proven to be true beyond what I even imagined. Now I would love to expand the reach of these stories, and you can help. If you enjoy listening, would you please vote for How I Got Here as your favorite local podcast in Tallahassee Magazine's Best of Tallahassee? The more we hear each other's stories, the stronger our community will be. You can vote for the podcast as well as your favorite businesses, people, and organizations at TallahasseeMagazine.com. Just click on the Best of Tallahassee tab at the top. Now, on to another great story.
I was doing music full time from 96, 97, all the way into now, basically. Yeah. The radio aspect just kind of, ease into play. And I follow God where he sends me. And as far as the radio thing, that just kind of happened. The music has always been there. And it's always been a support, for me to do other things, help my family, help others. Yeah. So it's always been a support system in my life.
From Fiore Communications, it's How I Got Here, a show of inspiring stories from Tallahassee area leaders, business owners, and neighbors. All the challenges, opportunities, inspirations, the twists and turns of life that led them to where they are today. Everyone has a story worth telling, and I am really grateful that we get to bring a few of them to you. I truly have been changed by my conversations with these amazing people, and I'm confident you will be too. I'm Dave Fiore, and in this episode, I speak with Darius Doc D. Baker, music producer and founder of Tallahassee Nights Live. Doc has been launching music career since middle school, producing up-and-coming artists and creating a platform for local entertainers of all experience levels to hone their craft in front of grateful and enthusiastic audiences around the world. The Havana native is a married father of 4 boys who remains committed to providing opportunities for anyone with a love of music and a willingness to put in the work to achieve their dreams. We began our conversation talking about growing up in Gadsden County.
Grew up actually Gadsden County, Havana, Florida, all the way up until 3rd grade. Mom met, my dad, stepdad, but I call him my dad, and that moved us. We thought we had moved to New York. We're moving from Havana to Tallahassee. My stepdad is actually he opened the first Walmart in the state of Florida.
Wow.
His pictures of him with Sam Walton and all of them. Did you know that the first Walmart in Florida was in Quincy? That's a little
trivia.
A little trivia for you. And
so in the whole state,
in the whole state.
Quincy.
And so he's credited in the Walmart Corporation for starting in this market area. They're used to going into rural areas to open up this is before the supercenters, before the Louvre, before all of that. But they chose him to open up the market here. It is the first one in Florida, and that was in Quincy, Florida.
Wow.
So, that's my stepdad, Ben Ruff. You can look him up.
Okay. All right. So how old were you when you came to Tallahassee?
Oh, man. Was that 3rd grade?
3rd grade? Okay. So you've been in Tallahassee ever since then?
Yeah, been in Tallahassee, Astoria Park, then went to Griffin, then to Gabi, and tinkered a little bit there at Florida A&M University, and then went on my musical hiatus.
That you're still in.
That I'm still in.
Right,
It's been good. So
all right. So you talked about it a little bit, but what was family life like growing up? Your siblings and what was family life like?
Oh man, just my older sister Keisha and my mom. Single parent household. She did a phenomenal job. Just raising us, and still to this day, inspires and guides us in the right direction. I was lucky to have a grandmother that stayed street over in Havana, Ruth Lee Bush. So, they tag team. We can walk to grandma's house, and just a strong lady who's a nurse and been in that field for about 30 years, and still in it there at CHP.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did you like school as a kid?
Yeah. Especially the musical aspect, and you had to have the academics in order to actually indulge in the music. I was one of the few that had keyboards and would always make the studios. I had the studio in the neighborhood, and everybody come, even though back then it was a karaoke machine that I used 2 tape players, and I record on one track, put the tape in the other, record another track, but I found a way.
Right.
And I had the studio, and that's when I started my production desires.
So how did all that come to be? I mean, how did you even get started in that or have interest in that?
Yeah, I mean, I was signed to a few labels as a rapper back then. Even
at what age?
Oh man, that was in high school. But okay. I had my first. My grandmother actually purchased my first piano. My sister took lessons first. I would actually have to be there. Mr. McDonald, remember his name, in Havana, Florida, and he actually told my mother she's not the one that needs to be taking lessons. He's the one, because I would be answering the questions. My mom, my sister,
like theory questions,
right? But my sister was doing it because my mom was, either violin, piano. She was, even though we was in Havana in the, in those areas, she made sure we were exposed to other things, and
yeah.
My sister she wasn't really into
She was doing it because she had to.
She was doing it because she had to. I was there because he would basically be babysitting pretty much doing that 30 minutes. But I'd be soaking it all in, and I start answering the questions that he was asking her. And that's when he told her that, no, he's the one that really wants to do it. So it kind of transferred to me. And my mom was like, I'm not going to buy him because he may next month not want to do it, want to do sports. And my grandmother went and bought my first piano, and it was backed up to the house in Tallahassee from wherever she had got it from.
You mean like a full-size piano?
Full-size piano that my mother has in her house. I just left there this morning having coffee with her and my dad. It's still in there to this day. She'll never get rid of it because my grandmother, who's passed away, she bought it, for me. And still gets it tuned, even though don't nobody play it. But that's what started my musical aspirations and wanting to produce music and all that kind of stuff.
So what was it about the piano? Why do you think you were naturally drawn to it?
Because of my aunt, and everybody in my family is musically inclined. My aunt, Cora Anderson, who's a famous teacher there in Gadsden County, teaching for years. She was a pianist in church, and me sitting on the piano bench beside her. My aunt, Gwendolyn Lockwood, just so many people in the family played the piano. I have several cousins that actually play as well. So that's what, that's probably why I kind of pulled towards it. And then the production aspect in high school, I just started to produce artists and all that kind of, make tracks, make beats. And my dad, being rough, bought me a Roland XP50 and a PV amp. And I started doing production and all that kind of stuff. And, started getting checks, so
yeah,
it proved good.
So when you were basically taking on clients, like somebody would say, I want to make music,
yeah,
and you would help them do that?
Yeah. Make, and coaching them and rapping myself. But, of course they couldn't pay nothing, $5, little stuff like that. This was back, middle school, maybe eighth grade around
So
there.
are you laying down beats with some kind of melody and they're rapping over it, or how?
Yeah. We had a neighborhood, man, Lake Jackson. I mean, come on now, we had we had a little clique. The girls that had them rapping. We had a little thing going on, and it started getting serious around about maybe 11th, 12th grade. Going to FAM, my freshman year, I went to FAM on a Florida Gold Seal scholarship. And I never will forget. I had to maintain a 3.5. It was an academic scholarship, but I was trying to do my music too. and then still work and all that. Yeah. But what kind of convinced my mom, I did a track for, I did all of Roy Jones Jr. This is when he was on the top of his game, boxer. All of his intro music, I produced that.
So how did you have a connection to him?
That was through another person. It was a record label that was using me to do the tracks. And basically what they did, Alfie Smith was his manager of Knockout Records. They just X'd out the middleman because he started kind of being late on things, this and that. And they found out, well, he's the one that's doing all the tracks. And then we formed a connection and formed a bond. For like about 3 years, I worked for Roy doing all of his intro music that he came into the ring on. And that was my first major check. It was like a $4,000 check to do one of those tracks. I showed it to my mom, and that's when she saw that I could really make
You showed
a
her
living.
the check?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was, this wasn't like from his company or whatever. It was a personal check, had his monogram on it, his little silhouette.
That's a big deal.
And his signature. So she was like, okay, well, you can really make a living off of that. So she kind of, still is strong about school, as she should have been. But once she saw that, and I started getting other checks from other record companies, she saw that it was meaningful, and she started stressing learning the business of that. If you're gonna take a hiatus from school, at least learn the business of music so you don't get taken.
So how did you do that? How did you educate yourself about how the business works?
Yeah, books, even family members who had done it before, who had been in the industry. Things have changed so much. This is way before all of the internet, social media, all that kind of stuff. I mean, learning points and royalties and all types of stuff, learning that type of stuff.
Because you could get taken advantage of pretty easily,
Oh,
right?
yeah, easily. And I have, several times, but I learned to get more, depending on who you're working with, to get as much as you can up front than to rely on residuals or royalties, because who knows how many really sold.
Right.
They could tell you anything.
It's easy to promise that. Right?
Oh, man, easy to promise that. So I learned at an early age, hey, just try to get as much as possible up front as far as the production. And a lot of stuff has changed now, but back then that's how I operated.
Okay. So you kind of veered off the college path and focused on the music and the business and developing that. So how did that go at first? Could you make a living doing that? Or
yeah, definitely. I mean, I was doing music full time from 96, 97, all the way into now, basically.
Yeah.
The radio aspect just kind of, eased into play, and I follow God where He sends me. And as far as the radio thing, that just kind of happened. The music has always been there, and it's always been a support, for me to do other things, help my family, help others.
Yeah.
So it's always been a support system in my life.
Yeah. Let's talk about the radio a little bit. You were a program director at Cumulus Media for, I saw it was like 19 years. Yeah.
Well, Cumulus probably about more like, totality, maybe 19 years.
Okay.
Cumulus maybe about 7 or 8.
Okay.
We started, along with my partner, Jay Green, started Heaven, which was back then, it was 1410, the light.
Okay.
They didn't even turn the lights on in that in there. But Dot Ely, came up to us and asked us to, if we'd be interested in flipping it. It wasn't a whole lot of money. Matter of fact, I worked for Cumulus a whole year without getting paid. My partner did, but I had the music to support me,
Right.
So I was like, hey, let's just take a try at this. And,
So explain what's going on. So Cumulus owns a property, a radio station, owns the frequency and the name, the brand and all that.
Yes.
But they're not doing much with it, so they're offering you the chance to turn it into something else?
Yeah, to make it profitable. To do it. Back then it was it may have been ESPN for a while, but I know it was the light at the very beginning. Peter, that was his name. That was the engineer that was there. He's passed on now. Would say that they didn't even turn the lights on in there. And Miss Dot, I credit her to this day. I just saw her a couple of days ago. She's still the VP there at Cumulus. Gave us a chance to bring it to life, in which we did. From 1410, it went to Heaven, which what it is now, 98.3. I got 2 Stellar nominations there as the program director and as leader there.
So what does that mean? What's a Stellar nomination?
Stellar is like the gospel Grammys, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's the pinnacle of gospel awards. You have the Dove Awards, which is kind of like CMA Christian.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
The Stellar Awards is more gospel, but like Kirk Franklin, Tamla Mann, those artists hosted and all types of good stuff. So we've traveled to Nashville, traveled to Las Vegas a couple of times to represent and to be the final 4 in the nation as the top in the small market category. So, and I was blessed to move over to Hallelujah 95.3 with Dr. Holmes, who owns that station, after I left Cumulus. And he said, hey, you want to give it a try here, because I have this station. And within 2 years, we got a Stellar nomination there at 95.3.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about what did you do to make the station successful? What is that job to make that happen?
I took the same mindset to 95.3 that I had there with Jay, at what was then the Light 1410 and turned into Heaven 98.3. And that is, let's get the wagon moving before you ask people to jump on. Okay. It's easier to get people to jump onto a moving wagon, even if it doesn't look like, well, it may look like it's a lot, but there are things that you can do, minor things that you can do that don't take a whole lot of finance, that'll just elevate, morale and elevate a station. Paint the building. I mean, little things that make it seem like it's moving somewhere. That excites people. People want to be a part of things that are moving and not dormant,
right.
And that's what we did. We went in, we put a glass window up that had Heaven 1410 back then, and we were actually a first station to get the governor to come in and actually do not by phone, but that was then Governor Rick Scott came in and did an interview, had the Secret Service scope the building, and everybody, what? Oh, he should be on our bigger stations like Star 98 or 96.1, isn't that? Was he on the AM station for? Well, that's because he had visited my church, and I had a conversation with him at that point and invited him out. So favor along with hard work, it produced a lot of great results.
Yeah. So at this point, you're planning like what the programming is going to be, what kind of music,
yes.
what other kind of content you're going to have on there.
Yeah.
Like what on-air personalities, the whole.
Yes.
You're putting all that together, right?
Yes. As a program director, I mean, it's not just music, but I wanted to localize the station as much as possible, not having a huge radius, and that's the same as with the 95.3. Folks don't really, they can listen to an XM if they want to know what's going on in LA or watch the news, but our station nowadays, especially now, it needs to be localized. They want to have a sense of community and a presence that's there. And that's what we worked hard on, just doing book bag giveaways, food giveaways, gas giveaways, just being out, being present, letting the people know that it's just not about $1. Sure, we need ads and stuff to sustain, but you have something you're feeding folks, you're clothing folks. We want to get the word out,
Right.
And then that residual, it comes back, and it did with both stations.
Yeah. So is a gospel station a good platform to be able to do that, to let people know about needs, to bring the community together? It seems like it would be a really good fit.
Yeah, I think it is, because with music today, and I'm the first to say that you can get inspiration just about from any genre of music. It just depends on what type of inspiration you want to get. But to have a good message, a good positive message like gospel available throughout the day, folks need that, because you never know what someone's going through. It's just not always the wee hours of the morning. It could be, I just got to work and I'm thinking some thoughts that I shouldn't be thinking, and I need to turn it on and I hear a good gospel song. Everything's going to be okay. Everything,
right.
Those moments, and when you get those callers that call in and say, you just played a song that just opened my eyes and let me know that I just got to hang in there. That's why you do it.
Okay. You're talking about your faith and how that drives some of these decisions. Talk about the origins of that. How did that become such an important part of your life, and how do you use that to drive your decisions professionally, personally, and kind of how does that guide your life at this point? Well,
I mean, the old folks say, and in I grew up missionary Baptist, but I've played for every denomination. I've been playing for churches since I was in 6th grade. I've had, AME, Primitive Baptist, Missionary Baptist, all at the same time. Every Sunday a different denomination. But that's the life of a musician, even at that young age. So I've been exposed to many different doctrines, but they're all serving God, and He's proved Himself so many times, in my life, with the decisions that He's led me to make. Or sometimes I say He always operates. He'll ask you to do something, tell you to do something, and then make you do something. So when you get to that make, and He's had to make me do some things several times in my life, at that point it don't feel that good when He has to make you. He's already asked you or led you to a certain
right.
Hey, you need to do it this way, but sometimes we're stubborn. So I strongly believe that there is a higher power, and that He will guide you in the right direction if you trust Him. And it takes faith. It takes a lot of faith, things that are not seen, but that it's there and that it's obtainable. Number one, it's many things are, but it's going to take work and it's going to take effort. Faith without works is dead. So if you don't make a move on certain things, then that's not to say that it's not obtainable. You're just not doing what it takes to get it.
Okay. That's great. All right, so you're doing your music, and then at some point you found, and I don't know if this was early or when it happened, but you started D-Reel Productions.
Yes.
Was that the name of the company from the beginning?
That was the name in high school.
High school.
Yeah, started doing D-Reel Productions with all of the different groups and all that kind of stuff. So all of the stuff I've done since then have kind of been under that umbrella.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how has that evolved over time? I know you've worked with some big names, and it's not just a Lake Jackson thing anymore.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that evolution. We'll get to Tallahassee Nights Live and all that in a minute, but just the production company and opportunities to work with other people. Yeah. It sounds like you've had some nice success over the years.
Yeah, I mean, with Universal Records, Warlock Records, many different companies. I've done bass. That's when bass music was really hot. All of the Dance Party USA mix tapes that they show on MTV and all that. If you search Doc D or The Factor, that was a part of the rap group I was with, you'll see a lot of the credits that come up alongside many other artists that are out there. I was just able to, once my name started circulating, I was able to do a lot of those tracks from here and not really have to move. They flew me out to, different areas at certain intervals, but I was able to do a lot of work from Florida, from home, and just send them tracks. I upgraded from the cassette tape, to a nice, good studio back then. Of course, now we are Pro Tools heavy and just about anybody can get a decent studio in their house now. But back then, Fostex 8-track digital, then I went to a Roland 2480, that was big time then. If you had that and you had a good soundproof room, a good microphone back then. Yeah. So I was recording a lot of music from Florida and sending it out to different labels.
Right. Mm-hmm. So and again, it's cool that you could do that from Tallahassee, but it was harder then. I mean, we weren't as connected then as we are now.
Oh yeah,
right?
Definitely. Yeah.
So, all right. So what was your vision for the company? Did things sort of happen and God led you to certain things, or did you have a vision for what you wanted the company to be and you worked toward that vision?
Somewhat I had a vision, but then he led me to bigger things as well. I've always had a vision of being a producer like Timbaland or like Berry Gordy, if you want to go way, way back, to have artists up under, because I can always see the greatness in an artist even if they didn't see it themselves. It was just, I just had that gift. Even if they were performing or singing and it didn't sound good, I had a vision of what would sound good with or what should be done to make that artist better. I just always had that vision, even at, in high school, how to create an artist, like the Jermaine Dupri's and all these big, producers who had production companies. So that's what I've always visioned to do from the very beginning. And leading into, I did work with the Fat Cat. Big shouts out to Danny Harris, Coco Brown. That was a major platform back then that we traveled the world and learned a lot of things with them. I did some production on that album, and then that's what led me into my own platform. I always had the production company, D-Reel Production, but Tallahassee Nights Live, that's what led into that platform for other artists.
So where do you find these people to work with? Do you pluck them out? You just run into them, or do they come to you? Or how do you start working with some of that talent?
It's a little bit of both. Some of them come to you. They know about the platform, or they know of your work, what you've done with others. And then you may run up on someone that's maybe singing 4 hours in a pub and only making what they make in tips, but they sound amazing, and you're like, hey, you should be singing with a 13-piece band. You could be, doing this. You could be doing this. None of the artists that have been with TNL now going on 18 years now, they don't sign anything. You don't have to sign a contract to be with the platform. You're going to get paid. All of it is work for hire when we do these corporate events or even smaller events. But it's a situation where iron sharpens iron. Many of these artists have gone on to win Grammys. They've gone on to work on national platforms. Our saxophonist, last saxophonist to play with Prince, and now he's playing with Lionel Richie, Bette Midler, CeeLo Green. That all started at Tallahassee Nights Live in little old Tallahassee compared to the world. Many of our musicians go out, and this is just a starting platform to catapult you to higher levels.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So 2007, like you said, you start Tallahassee Nights Live.
Mm-hmm.
So what was first, for those who don't know, I've had the pleasure of hearing you perform at chamber events, and
great.
It's quite an experience.
Right.
But for those who don't, kind of just give us an umbrella of what is Tallahassee Nights Live all about. When you know that you're going to encounter them somewhere, what are they getting ready to see and hear?
You're getting ready to have an experience. I'll say that.
Yeah.
We're fairly large as far as our bigger corporate events, but most of them are Tallahasseans or have some connection to Tallahassee, whether they attend Florida State University or Florida A&M University. And these are kind of like the cream of the crop. The professional musicians, we all grow together. In most instances, you're going to get, like a 13-piece band. We're never the type of band that has one singer singing all night. You may have 8, 9, just as fluent throughout the evening. And that's just what we've built our name on. High energy, great singers, great musicianship, and professionalism, and we all grow, as far as from your wardrobe, timeliness. I mean, we work on that stuff, and it's almost like an academy that many of them have already graduated from, but now we have younger folks from college, and that's kind of leading into a new platform that we've created for our younger artists.
Right. Okay, well, how did it start? How did you get the ball rolling on this?
Yeah, I always tell the story. It was 2 checks that started Tallahassee Nights Live, and that was one from Maurice Evans of Evans Construction and another one from Chuck Crawford at Capital Eurocars. That was what started the 18 years now. And these was, they weren't huge checks that you can go and buy a house out of. I mean, it was checks that were enough to do a show. Mm. It was checks that was enough to do a show, but it was based off of the workmanship and what I've already had done. So, hey, we want you to go ahead and start this on your own here, and that was during the time we were at the Leon County Civic Center. That's what it was then. Now, of course, it's Tucker Center.
Right.
And we were on the arena floor, and we were like selling out 72 round tables and multiple seats with general admission. It had gotten to be a big thing, and had to unfortunately leave there because they saw many people were coming. But
where did you get the vision to have a huge band, 13-piece or more band with all kinds of stuff going on, moving musicians in and out, singers in and out? I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Where from your production company and what you're doing, where did it pop into your head? I want to create this huge musical group to perform in Tallahassee and all over the place.
Because they didn't have it, they didn't have a platform like that, a continuous platform. Back then, we're doing every single month that they can actually be exposed to a diverse audience, from business owners to elected officials all the way to just, regular people, that they could actually perform and showcase their talents. Nothing's wrong with singing karaoke at a club or singing at church or singing it, but on a major stage with full lighting, background singers, horn section, monitors out, where you can learn like you're on tour for real. I mean, we've had makeup artists backstage. I mean, all types of stuff that you would only have to be in it to actually experience it. You were able to experience that with Tallahassee Nights Live every single month and learn from it. Oh, okay, well, I shouldn't have the mic stand in front of me. If I take the mic off the mic stand, I need to put it in back of me. Never let it outshine me. Oh, I don't need to hold the mic down to the monitor. It's simple things that you would think that singers know, but you only learn by being in it and experiencing it, doing it. How to read a crowd, how to actually work a crowd, how to see the lighting on the stage to know where you need to be, if you're in a dim light, all types of things that you won't know. You're only going to get that from experience. And we didn't have that. Mm. We didn't have that continuous platform on that level where the community could come out and expect and get a 5-star show every single month. In 18 years, we haven't had an issue with Tallahassee Nights Live ever, as far as with the crowd. They know they're gonna dress up. They're gonna come with the nice shoes on, well, blazer. If you wore jeans, cool, but you got a blaze on. You're dressing to impress, this and that. It was something that I've had people, so many, to say, this is the only time me and my wife go out. We look forward to coming out to this, so don't stop doing it. Where you can look up and maybe see the mayor, look up, maybe see a commissioner, maybe see a business owner, maybe see this, and shake a hand. Hey, I come to your store all the time, this and that, and you're all in the same room. That was, that was something major, and that's what TNL is all about.
And we'll be right back. How I Got Here is sponsored by Barano Heating and Air Conditioning in Tallahassee. I've been friends with Patrick Barano since we met in a chamber leads group about 15 years ago. I'll admit that I pursued him pretty hard to be his marketing firm and eventually won him over. And the reason I wanted to work with him is that I was already a customer and I knew what kind of company he and his father before him had built. He cares about his customers, he cares about his team, and he cares about this community. I've experienced Barano Heating and Air when they installed a complete system replacement a few years ago, and I enjoy peace of mind and same-day service with my Total Comfort Service Agreement. I've also been behind the scenes at their office and seen firsthand the true character of this company, and that's why we're so proud to represent them. To learn more or to schedule an appointment online anytime, visit baranoac.com. They really always will be there for you. And now back to the show. So it's interesting to me because I knew what it was from the audience side of it.
Right.
But I hadn't thought about, it seems like your real passion is to bring that music to people, but it's also to provide a training ground for these musicians to learn how it all works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And like I said, it's iron sharpens iron. You're going to learn what to do, but you're going to learn what not to do as well, because you'll see what didn't work for that performer. Maybe she shouldn't have worn that. Something like that, because I always say they see you before they hear you. Wardrobe is important in performance just as well as your vocals. So what you wear when you're invited out to a corporate event, find out, is it after hours? Is it is it a black tie? What don't come up there and in jeans or wrinkled pants and all that kind of stuff that you think is the obvious is not always the obvious with singers that say they are professional. It's not until you hire them to come out for your gala and they're not dressed right, and you're like, you sounded good. I gotta book you off of your sound, but we all have blazers on and this and that. You should have known that. TNL makes you know that.
Right. How would you describe the music that you play?
Soulful. We've done country shows. We've done, jazz shows. All of it is centered around soul, but we do tackle and entertain all different genres because we've had so many different singers that their fortes are outside of just R&B. Some of them love Latin music. We'll do a Latin song and have dancers from the salsa group here on the side dancing, all types of stuff to expose the audience to different genres of music. So, but I would describe, as far as TNL, our base route would be R&B soul.
Right. What is the audition process? How do you decide who can perform or not? Yeah,
we've had auditions, several in the past. That's something that I'm really working on doing more of, because I don't want, yes, of course, we do have a standard, and with that, everyone can't be on the stage, but there should be a process to allow some who are close to it to grow to that, and so that's what we're doing now. And it's a good thing that we have a center now that we can actually kind of cultivate some of the artists who are almost there. They just need to learn a few more things, because not only are they representing themselves, they're representing the brand as well. So the audition process, it's basically, you come, most of them have already had experience doing it. They already have somewhat of a name for themselves, or they've already had paid gigs. They've done this for a living. They just want to be a part of something bigger and kind of grow in some areas. Very seldom do you find folks in TNL that have never, ever performed before. Sometimes, if I see something in someone and can pull it, but very seldom you find like a total, complete novice, like never has done it before. Don't know how to engage the audience or whatever, because we're not going to get called back if we have a lot of that. But there should be, and this is what we're working on, should be somewhat of a growth process to make it to that to that level where you can go out with us, like we'll be in Tampa on Saturday. So it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah. So how far do you travel to perform?
Oh man, we've done countries. We've
Really?
done 2 cruises with Carnival that we partnered with. We did, I think it was Mexico, and the other place somewhere. You can look it up. The Soulful Escape.
Okay.
TNL Soulful Escape. We were actually booked and had filled up our 3rd one. That's when COVID hit, and that was to Jamaica. But Carnival, they actually picked up 2 of our singers when we were there. And Akeem Gervin, who's our background singer, he's been doing it for probably about 3 years now, I think. Grace Elson, she's another great singer. She has a contract with Carnival. I believe she may be with Royal Caribbean now. But that was all from TNL, us, having a partnership, we did a cruise with them, and it was absolutely amazing. And now it turned into a full-time job for them to make a great living. Won't tell their business, but they're doing pretty good. All they have to do is sing. And
how does that make you feel that you created an opportunity that would lead to something like that?
Man, that's what it's all about. That's what gives you the gas to, it fuels you to keep going. And then, it's not about the recognition, but let's be real. It feels good to be recognized, or it's for the work that you've done. It doesn't have to be on a mountaintop, but just for them sending a text or making a post or just saying, thank you. Thank you. I'm doing what I love to do. This, changed my life. Hey, that's enough for me. That's enough for me.
That's great.
Yeah.
What is your role in the actual performances now? What are you doing on the night of a performance?
Well, I'm still ripping and running back and forth. I'm still making the lighting right. I'm still, listening to the sound. But more and more, a lot of the singers who have started out, we got singers who started out as keyboardists and never sang before out front. Now they have their own bands. It's plenty of individual bands inside of TNL, which is a great thing too, and I support it all. And they all they all reverence and recognize where it all starts from, and we have that respect for each other. It makes me just it makes me feel good to see that they're growing, and doing things. So my workload has increased in other areas and decreased in some. So I have some singers who now they're able to produce full shows from the set list, from the wardrobe, stuff that I used to put CDs out on everybody's doorstep before a show. This is way before the MP3s and all this stuff that had all of the songs and had a full set list. I'd drive to everybody's house so they wouldn't have no excuse. Put it on their doorstep. Hey, your set list there for next month.
So they would know the music.
So they know the music. Now I have music directors to handle that. They're paid to do that. I don't have that stress. I don't have that strain. I have plenty of people within TNL who can actually create a show. Doc, I want to create a tribute to whatever, tribute to country music, tribute to a luau show, or tribute to Motown. Okay, well, go ahead. Let me know what you need, and then just bring it to me. Let's look at it together, and they'll put together the show, top to bottom, everything, singers that they want within the camp, everything, and that's amazing.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't have never done that from day one with TNL, but now they're producing their own shows inside of TNL and within their own space with their own bands.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, you mentioned that you have a venue now on South Monroe. So tell us about why that was important, how you found it, kind of the whole story of how you ended up in that space. Yeah,
another thing that I give credit to God for. Drove there. I was actually a day or 2 days before signing a lease at another facility on West Tennessee Street. Days before signing it, but it didn't feel right. I drove on this side, 1533 South Monroe Street, and the area was just sitting there. I talked to the management there, And that's why it's always good to have a good name. It's more or less, well, it's not so much so as your reputation, your character is really, really important. Folks knew about the name Tallahassee Nights Live. I've never owned a commercial property. Never had, I don't have that background, From Tallahassee Nights Live, they knew everything that came back to them was positive and was good. So we were able to get that area. It turned from 6,000 square feet to now about 8,500 with our offices that we've rented out to different businesses to start, small businesses. And now we have a headquarters. We would rehearse shows in warehouses, like, regular warehouses, Morning Star, wherever, if somebody had a warehouse that they'll rent out some time for us, restaurants, people houses, Teresa, our manager, we'll be in her living room sometimes. Everybody, the space that we had over on Tharp Street, it was so small that people had to wait in their cars until it was time for them to rehearse their song to go into the room. We've paid dues over the years and still paying them. But to be led to that facility and to be able to get it and maintain it, now I can truly see why God led me there. It wasn't just so much about T&L, but it was about the community having a space on the side that was really, really nice, medium space, about 250 people. You could seat at round tables with a capacity of 300. And that led into our summer camp that we're in our third year through a great partnership with the Children's Services Council, where we actually teach and inspire youth over 35 there on the facilities, feed them 3 times a day, and they learn from Grammy Award winners in songwriting. They record their own songs, reading, art, dance, all types of stuff throughout the summer. And it's been successful since the beginning. Yeah.
So how important to you was it that, I know it worked out great, but that you found something on the south side and could become part of that, part of town that's getting a little resurgence and getting some attention near Somo Walls, and that whole area is kind of being revived a little bit, and you're part of that. So was that important to you?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I'd be lying if I said that was the main thought. About driving there. No, that was all God. I was just driving, sat in the parking lot. Lord, should I sign this? Because we had been rehearsing there at the facility, but the guy who was still, I consider a friend, Al Chang, he was like, "Hey, you can get this, this space." But I was just sitting there. They didn't even have a sign up for that particular space where we are
because it's kind of a nondescript building. You wouldn't even really notice it.
You wouldn't even know it's there. It actually used to be a furniture store. It was a bank a long time ago. It was a church about 15 years ago. Community of Faith. It was. And it was just a square room, and they saw my work ethic. Within 6-7 months. Me getting in there, the carpet, the painting. Just this. I practically lived in that area. In that space, sleeping in there, just kind of building it up as much as I could. Didn't have a grant, didn't have an investor, did it all on my pockets with credit cards. That thank God I'm able to, he's sustaining us now, and I'm able to, pay that stuff off and keep it going, because folks are now.
That's a risky way to make things happen, right?
Very risky, but it takes risk if you want to, go after your dreams. Everything is not just, just easy.
Handed to you.
Yeah. It's not. So if you believe in it, you can really see it. Others don't have to see it.
Mm. Well, you and I actually met at an event there for the Imagine Freedom event for the Survive and Thrive Advocacy Center.
Beautiful event.
A nonprofit that we have the pleasure of working with. And I had never been in the building, but it's beautiful. It's really a cool space. So I don't usually do this, but I want you to give you a chance for a little commercial here.
Oh, man.
I know it's not just for TNL, it's a chance for the community to use that space. So who are the kind of people that you're hoping will use that community?
Yeah, listen, community, nonprofits are welcome. I work with you. expos, business expos, anything that's dealing with the community, and also, of course, your birthdays, your those type of events that you may not be able to afford the others, but you still want something nice.
Right. I saw you hosted my friend Judy Mandrell's birthday party,
and she had a book signing there, things like that. Yeah. Not so much want to do club parties,
I see you started a foundation as well a couple years ago. Does that part of the students in the summer program?
That's the main reason why we're there, and to have we have a garden out on the other side as well. I just want to throw that in there. Shout out to Miss Jones, Maria Jones is over that. But to have the kids to have a headquarters inside Summer Academy, and we'll soon grow to year round. And I've been urged and kind of pushed to go towards that. But like I said, I'm a strong believer, and I want to take it easy. Take it, we've kind of, and we're still learning, but we got the summer program. Let's, we're going to just continue to perfect that. And if God leads there with the year round, he will with after school, because these kids, man, their creativity is at an all-time high now. And when it comes to writing and some of the stuff that they sing about, they write about, you'll never know what these kids are going through. They need these type of art outlets. They really do. Some of the drawings, what does that mean? What does that mean? And some of the stuff that they say, man, it'll shake you up, So they really do need an outlet. And I think that's what I know. That's what we give now currently during the summer. Hopefully it'll lead into us being able to provide that year round.
Yeah. All right. One part of your life that we haven't talked about yet is your family.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about you. You have 4 boys, right?
4 boys. Yeah. All boys. We tried for a girl, me and my wife, Tanya. Shout out to LaTanya.
Well, let's start with her. So how did you meet her? What's that love story?
Oh man, me and Tanya, we've known each other for a while, and she's an amazing wife. She's an amazing mother, and she's a professional in her own right in real estate. I actually had my real estate. We went to real estate school together, and she was the one who took the mantle and exploded, So I went back to radio.
Yeah.
But she's doing some great things there, and then in a high position there at Florida A&M University. She's doing a great job there too. But at the household, being over 4, the only estrogen in the house is but I think she kind of likes it that way. I think she likes being the queen. And as far as our boys, Malik, Davion, who's our oldest, graduated from Florida State University, magna cum laude, and Darius, who's in New York, and then Langston, who's our youngest, 4 years old, and he's a handful. So 4 boys.
You got a pretty good age span there too, right?
Oh yeah.
Keeps you on your toes.
Keeps you on your toes, but all of the older boys are able to watch Langston if needed, so that's a good thing. Love the family, and we have it's a wide range of personalities in the house, from the shy to the outspoken to the animated to the calm and collected.
All right, Doc, looking back, what is the one thing or person that changed or altered the trajectory of your life to this point?
It would probably have to be my firstborn, who was, Davion. That really put things into perspective. Like, it's time to get super serious. Yeah, it's time to get super serious now, because now you have a mouth to feed. You have someone else that is basically dependent on your success. Really. If you don't do for him, of course, he's got grandmothers and family, of course we all have that. But as a man, you want to be that primary support system for your seed. And when I, had him, that really took me out of little boy mode into like, okay, let's make sense of this music and make it more of business than a hobby.
Time to stop playing around and get serious.
Time to start getting some constant
But you
money.
were working hard, but just kind of changed your mindset a little.
Yeah. So what if I eat a bologna sandwich or something, whatever? That's it. It only affects me. Back then.
Right.
Or if I had a huge gap between a record and another big paying gig, 6 months, whatever. So what? No. When Davion came, I had to really man up, in which I did, and that led into some really great things in my business. Just having that force, behind me to get serious and to plan out things the correct way, get accounts, get D-Real Production and Sun Biz and all that kind of stuff, which I hadn't did before then.
Incorporating,
getting that stuff, in line. Hadn't done that until Davion arrived or found out that he was arriving. Yeah.
All right, final question. The podcast is called How I Got Here. So we've talked about how you got to this point in your life. Where do you think here might be for you in 3 to 5 years from now?
Wow. I used to always have a vision of me driving a Mercedes. I used to always have it, and not really even just a car on the outside. I used to visualize looking down on the steering wheel and seeing that Mercedes sign. I'm not saying that that's a symbol or that means that you're successful, but that was my vision back then, as starting in music. I've accomplished that 3 times over, might not have been the top end Mercedes, but I saw the sign, driving in the car and seeing it. Yeah. And I can now see myself, it's not always about being wealthy or being just, rich or having all of the money in the world, but being comfortable and being able to support others and doing what I know I'm gifted to do without worrying about a single bill. I see that happening. I see that happening because I think that God entrusts you with certain things because He knows that He can trust you with the vision. And He's given me several that some I've acted on and some that I'm preparing myself to act on that I know is going to lead to that, where I'm able to be an advocate. I'm able to help more people. Just look what He did with TNL. I told a lot of people in Tallahassee Nights Live, when I had that conversation with them, it wasn't even a year when we were actually in a warehouse rehearsing for a show. And look where we are now within that time frame. And all it takes is just a little faith and to act on the vision. So I see that maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, where I'm comfortable enough to not have to, kill myself with, just ripping and running, just doing everything that I have to do to keep it all going, but to have trusted people in these positions that could do and lift some of the load off of me so I can do more and affect more people in a positive way and not have to worry about, bills and things. Not to say that, and I don't want folks to take that the wrong way, but when you're doing what God has led you to do, you can do it more fluent without having to worry about, this and that and this. I think he's a big enough God to take care of you while you do what He's instructed you to do. I think he's big enough to do that, and I'm trusting Him to do that.
Thanks for listening to the show. You can subscribe at Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're there, please leave us a review. It really does make a difference. Thanks to my amazing staff at Fiore Communications, who pick up the slack while I'm working on these podcasts, and to Troy Bloom for composing our theme music. You can hear more of Troy's creations on Facebook and Instagram at Troy Bloom Music. To connect with the podcast or suggest a future guest, follow us on social media or email us at podcast@fiorecommunications.com.